Hey everyone, it's Anne. Welcome back to my channel, and for today's video, I'm going to be attempting to bake a cake without a recipe. I saw James Charles do this on his channel a few weeks ago, and I thought it would be a super fun video. I don't think I've ever baked anything without a recipe, so today is definitely going to be a challenge. The last time I made cake from scratch was I think a few months ago. I made cupcakes from scratch a few weeks ago, but cake and cupcakes have different recipes. So this is definitely going to be a fun little experiment. It might turn out great, it might turn out horrible. We're gonna find out. But I'm very excited, so let's head down to the kitchen and start to make the cake. First, I'm gonna preheat the oven to 350 degrees. I feel like that is the average temperature that you bake most things at. And then I have all the ingredients that I think I might possibly need. I have flour, sugar, salt, vanilla, baking soda, and vegetable oil. I might be missing something, but we'll see. The last time I baked a cake, I'm pretty sure I started by mixing the sugar and flour and salt and baking soda together. So that's what I'm gonna do right now. I don't know if it's right, but you know, this whole thing is just a fun experiment. Not only do I not know the order of which ingredients go in the bowl first, I also don't know the amount of each ingredient, so I'm just going to have to make a guess. For the flour, I'm going to guess that I'm gonna use 1.5 cups of flour. I feel like that's not too little, but not too much. For the sugar, I'm gonna estimate 1 cup of sugar. I'm gonna estimate half a teaspoon of salt and 1 teaspoon of baking soda. Honestly, this might be a complete disaster, but we'll see. And half a teaspoon of salt. Now I'm just gonna mix it all together. For cookies, I always start with creaming the butter and sugar together, but I'm pretty sure it's different for cake. So hopefully I'm doing this right. Now for the wet ingredients, I have vanilla extract, vegetable oil, and 2 eggs. I feel like 2 is a good medium number. Maybe I'm supposed to use 3, maybe I'm supposed to use 1, I don't know. A lot of the cake recipes I've made in the past use vegetable oil and not butter, so that's why I'm using this. I feel like I'm definitely missing an ingredient, but I don't know what it would be. So I'm just going to put half a cup of vegetable oil in. I feel like that is a good amount. I feel like 1 cup would be way too much. 2 eggs, and then I'm gonna do a tablespoon of vanilla extract because this is gonna be vanilla cake, so I feel like you need a good amount of this. Okay, as I'm pouring this 1 tablespoon of vanilla extract, I feel like a tablespoon is too much, so I didn't fill it all the way. I filled it maybe like 2/3 of the way or halfway there, so I'm just gonna dump that. Now I'm gonna mix it up and add the eggs in 1 at a time as it's mixing. Okay, so it's pretty thick as you can tell. I feel like I remember one of the cake recipes I made involving milk or heavy cream or something, so I think I'm gonna add some of that to make it less thick. I don't know how much to add. I'm gonna start with the 1/4 cup because I don't wanna add too much. Okay, I feel like that 1/4 cup of milk was perfect. I think I'm done making the batter already. That was super fast. I might totally be missing a very important ingredient. When I'm done making this cake, I'm going to look at an actual vanilla cake recipe and see if I missed anything. I'm going to try a little bit of the batter right now, see how it tastes. Okay, it's not horrible, but it's definitely not very good. I feel like I might need to add more sugar, but I don't want the cake to be too sweet because I'm gonna be making a really sweet buttercream. So honestly, I'm just gonna keep it as is. I'm gonna put it in the oven, and then I'm gonna start on the vanilla buttercream. Okay, well, I did not even have enough batter to fill 2 pans. I definitely have a feeling this is going to be a big fail, but we're gonna find out. So let me put this in the oven. I'll set the timer for 18 minutes. It might need a lot longer than that, but I don't want to risk burning it. Okay, I'm gonna start on the buttercream now. I know that the 2 main ingredients for buttercream is butter and powdered sugar. And I think a lot of people use the basic recipe of 1 stick of butter to 1 cup of powdered sugar. So that's what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna hope for the best. So I have 4 sticks of butter, so I'm gonna need 4 cups of powdered sugar, and then also some vanilla extract, salt to balance out the sweetness, and then possibly some milk, or half and half. So first I'm gonna put the butter in the bowl and kind of just mix it up until it's soft. Now I'm gonna add a tablespoon of half and half to kind of make it less thick. Now I'm gonna add some vanilla and a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Okay, the buttercream is done. Let's give it a taste. That's actually really good. Buttercream is definitely a lot easier to make than cake without a recipe. The cake is almost done. The timer's about to go off, so let's see what it looks like. Okay, it looks like marshmallows that are roasted. Let's put a knife in it and see if it's done. That is definitely not done. Oh. While I'm waiting for the cake to finish baking, I'm going to clean up this mess that I've made. Okay, that's what it looks like now. Let's see if it's done. Nope. Ugh, that's horrible. I really should have put it in 2 different pans. This is what the cake looks like. It's basically a complete fail. It was just too thick. I should have put it in 2 separate pans because the top is like basically burnt. It's like overdone, but the inside is like not. And I can already tell it's like super dense and spongy, and it is not gonna taste good, but I have to wait for it to cool completely and then I can start to frost it. It's been a few hours. The cake is completely cool, so it is ready to be frosted. It looks super weird and I don't think it's gonna taste very good. So here's the finished product. It is very messy, definitely does not look professional at all. The sides could definitely use some work, but I like the sprinkles on top. It is now time for the moment of truth. I'm going to taste this. Oh my gosh, look at all that frosting on top. The middle of the cake like sunk down, so the layer of frosting in the middle is like really thick. Okay, this looks like banana bread, to be honest. It's super dense. It feels really dry because I baked it for so long because it was so thick. It took forever to bake all the way through. So let's just try it. I already know it's gonna be horrible. Wow, that's honestly really bad. I'm not even gonna take another bite. That is gross. The frosting itself is not horrible. It tastes like a frosting recipe that I made before because buttercream is like really easy to make, but the cake is disgusting. I will not take another bite of that. Okay, I'm gonna look up on my laptop a recipe for vanilla cake and see what the recipe says to compare what I did. Okay, so I'm looking at a Chell Sweets Kitchen vanilla cake. I love her recipes. Okay, oh my gosh, okay. So her recipe calls for 3 cups of all-purpose flour. I did 1.5. 3 cups of sugar. I did 1 cup of sugar. 2.5 teaspoons of baking powder. I think I did 1 teaspoon of baking soda. That's completely different. A teaspoon of salt. I think I did half a teaspoon of salt. 1 cup of unsalted butter. I didn't use any butter. 1 cup of egg whites. Okay, well I used 2 eggs. 1.5 cups of buttermilk. I used regular milk, but I only used a 1/4 cup. She calls for 1.5 cups. 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil. I use vegetable oil, but I did a whole half cup. She only calls for 2 tablespoons. 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. I think I ended up doing about 2 teaspoons because I was gonna do 1 tablespoon and 1 tablespoon is 3 teaspoons, but I ended up doing about 2/3 of a tablespoon, which is 2 teaspoons. Okay, so no wonder it's horrible. Clearly, I don't know how to make a cake without a recipe. It's not like I'm a professional baker or anything. Okay, well that is really interesting to see this recipe and compare it to what I did. Clearly, I had no idea what I was doing. Honestly, I thought it was gonna turn out at least like decent, but I can't even take another bite of it. It is disgusting. Well, with that being said, that's going to wrap up today's video. I hope you enjoy it. I had a lot of fun doing this little experiment. I knew this going into this little challenge, but baking is a science. Like, everything has to be exact. So, I mean, I didn't expect the cake to turn out amazing, but again, I didn't expect it to turn out as horrible as this. But regardless, I had a fun time baking today. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up down below and hit that subscribe button. If you want to try a fun challenge like this, I totally recommend it, but if you want to make a really delicious cake Do not do this. You definitely need to get a good recipe online and follow it exactly. So that's it for this week, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!